Okay, so we've seen this idea before. So we've got our ball that's going to move across the screen, and just after it leaves, it's going to re-enter. But now I want to make it bounce back and forth. So right now, what I've got going is if the value of x is greater than 615, I will change x to -15. So it'll literally move it from being here, and it'll teleport it over to this side of the canvas. So we want to change this so that it bounces. So right now, the whole thing that's causing it to move, more or less, is this line right here. Since we're using x to represent the x position of the ellipse, if I change the value of x, then when our draw function loops, it will redraw the ball in a new location. Not so bad, right? So now, if I keep changing it, it'll keep redrawing it in a new location. And since I'm adding, it's going to keep moving it to the right. Now, if I want it to move to the left, I would have to make this a negative, and then it would move to the left. So how do I get it to bounce? So maybe if I come down here and I just write x gets x minus 2, that'll make it bounce. Let's see what happens. It looks like it's stuck in the side. Wait, let's change this number to when the bounce happens to see if we can see what's going on. I'm going to make this 0. You know what? Let's go ahead and just, yeah, that's fine. We'll do that. Now let's see what happens. It's now getting stuck in the side. So, because what's happening is when x is greater than 605, I take 2 away from x, so now x is, say, I don't know, 604. And then we come back around, we draw it at 604, 200. Then I add 2 to it. 2 plus 604 is 606. And since 606 is greater than 605, I take 2 away again and it's 604. So it's just going to stay exactly where it is. So we don't want to change x when it gets to the edge. We need to change something else. All right, so let's go ahead and put that back to 615 and put this back to plus, just so that, oh no, not that. We want this to be -15. There we go. So now we've got it back the way it was, so it'll reappear. Perfect. Now, what I need to do instead is I need to think about how this works. What we really have is we've got a position and we're adding something to it. Sometimes we want to add and sometimes we want to take away. So I could make this faster by changing this value, right? So if I make this 5, it's going to go a lot faster. And if I make it 1, it's going to go slower. And if I make it 0.5, it'll go slower still. Right? So this value right here clearly represents how fast it's moving, and that's what we call speed. So this represents its speed. Woo! No, it's super fast. So if I create a new variable and I call it speed, and then I put this here, so the new x will be the old x plus the speed variable. Okay, so now if I run this, it'll be the same. And again, I could change this number up here and make it faster, because if I change the speed, it goes faster. And if I make the speed negative, it'll move to the left instead of to the right. Not so bad, right? So now when I get to the edge, I don't want to teleport the ball to the other side of the screen. I want to change its speed, because I want it to go from going to the right to going to the left. And so if I want to make it go from going to the right to going to the left, all I've got to do is, rather than changing the value of x when x is greater than 615, I'm going to change the value of speed. So now if I run this, woo! Not so bad, right? So now how do I get the bounce off the other side? So I can get it to bounce off the other side by adding a second if statement. If what? If x is less than, what, 0? Sure, why not? I then change speed again, and this time I make it positive instead of negative. Now you'll notice it's kind of going all the way into the wall on both sides, isn't it? I don't want that. So I want it to stop when just the front of the ball is hitting the wall. And since the ball has a width of 30, we really want this to be 600 minus 15 instead of 600 plus 15. 600 plus 15 would mean the ball is all the way off the screen. I want the ball to be all the way on the screen when it bounces. So I'm going to change this to be 600 minus 15, which is 585. And then this is going to be 15. And now it's bouncing off the walls. So what I want you to do right now is play with this idea of bouncing the ball back and forth using a speed variable and a pair of if statements.